Yes, the Buffalo Bills should easily defeat the Houston Texans on Sunday. Yo ho ho, Don Mafia. Welcome to yet another edition of the Don Mafia Report, and I'm sure a lot of you have known throughout the past couple of weeks I have changed my titles to a bit more of a modest tone, but as you can see, I'm slowly but surely going back into my completely arrogant titles. While this one isn't, I believe the Bills are going to annihilate, destroy, murder, assassinate, I am slowly but surely getting back to that. Right now, I just said that we are going to easily defeat the Houston Texans, not because I'm trying to manifest it, but because there is no excuse that we do not easily defeat the Houston Texans. As always, this is my preview video. As many of you know, I'm going to be dissecting exactly how I think the Buffalo Bills defense is going to perform against the Houston Texans offense, and then how the Buffalo Bills offense is going to perform against the Houston Texans defense. But before we dive into any of that, here is a brief word from today's sponsor. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to hop in real fast and let all of you know that you don't know about football. Your knowledge of the game is embarrassing. What's wrong? And did I just bruise your ego? Did I damage your self-confidence? I'm a good guy, so I'm giving you an opportunity to prove me wrong. And what you're gonna do is you are going to bet against me on Viget. Dan, what the hell is Viget? Well, let me tell you what, ladies and gentlemen. This is an application that allows you to put in your sports takes, your sports bets, without having to risk your mortgage payment whatsoever. The second that you log into Viget, you are going to have the opportunity of winning coins. These coins are also going to be able to be cashed in for various prizes, and even the best person in the entire application is going to be flown out to the Super Bowl. And so this is the best app on the face of the planet without having to risk any actual real money. Very low risk, super high reward. Every single week, I am going to be on this app and I'm going to be giving my picks for each and every single game. Spreads, prop bets, you name it, and I want you to bet with me. What I want you to do is I want you to hit that link in my description or hit that link in my bio right now. Join my league. The password is HIT72 and start betting against me and show me that you actually know what the you're talking about. So whatever you're doing, stop this video and sign up for Viget today. So, all right, really when it comes down to it, I want to start off with the Buffalo Bills defense against the Houston Texans offense. And really, we need to start off with the quarterback. Now, as many of us know, Deshaun Watson is currently going through his massage controversy, and he is not playing for the Houston Texans. He refuses to. Tyrod Taylor, who actually looked tremendous during his week 1 start before getting injured, poor dude cannot take a break, will also not be out there. Instead, we are about to be going up against a rookie, a 3rd-round pick from Stanford, as in Davis Mills. Now, before we start getting into any of the data of Davis Mills, there's a couple of things I want to point out. In fact, one of them. He has only started 13 games since high school. That is right. While he was in Stanford, he suffered a lot of injuries. He only started 11 games. And then last week, of course, was his first NFL start being put into it. So Dude Man does not have a lot of experience going up against the Buffalo Bills defense. A Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier-led defense is probably going to give this poor guy a very, very difficult time. Like I said, there's not a lot of data on this guy, but so far this season, we're looking at a 58.7% completion rate, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And so he doesn't do a lot of play action. He doesn't attempt a lot of deep throws. His average depth of target is around 9.8, which is pretty interesting because most rookies, once you're sort of putting them into the NFL system, you see a lot of dink and dunks. That is not the fact from this guy. So overall, Dude Man is very inexperienced. But at the same time, the Texans really have no choice unless Deshaun Watson just ends up rolling out there like a superhero just to go on ahead and take this offense as his own. Now, it's not all the fault of Davis Mills. Their offensive line, which we are going to get to in a little bit, is not too good. Not too good whatsoever. He's been sacked 5 times already in only 1.5 games of play so far, and he's experiencing pressure 37% of the time. And by the way that our Buffalo Bills defensive line has been performing, I'm expecting those numbers to skyrocket by the time this week is over. As far as Davis Mills' weapons are concerned, at the end of the day, I'll be completely honest with you, they have one guy, and that is Brandon Cooks. It's funny because out of all of the targets this year so far for the Houston Texans, 37 of them, 37 targets have been added to Brandon Cooks. Everybody else on that team, that is right, everybody else on that team has been targeted 9 or less times. So when it comes down to it, the Buffalo Bills should fully anticipate that Brandon Cooks is essentially going to be their game plan. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be like, oh man, what about the running back situation? While if all 3 of these names were on this team back in 2016, I would certainly be worried. But it seems to be more of a veteran-led backfield. You know, obviously we're looking at Mark Ingram, who recently just came from the Ravens, David Johnson, who has been a bust the past couple of years, and then Phillip Lindsay, who's been tremendously underwhelming thus far. And so I really don't anticipate the Bills struggling against this run game. It will be interesting because they actually mix in a lot of gap runs. This is a different running scheme that the Buffalo Bills have not gone up against this year. So I want to see our run defensive woes have been addressed thus far with that 3-headed, I wouldn't even call it a monster, a 3-headed person backfield. So really at the end of the day, when it comes down into the Buffalo Bills really being able to, I would say, embarrass the Houston Texans offense is, number one, just let your defensive line get in the face of Davis Mills. This kid is already experiencing so much pressure. His stats are suggesting that the pressure is affecting his overall play. He's inexperienced, so get in his face. Same thing when it comes down into the secondary. Do a bunch of different disguised coverages. This kid has only had 13 starts since high school. He doesn't have a lot of experience. They essentially thrown this guy into the wolves, and he has his toughest test yet. And then last but not least, Trey White, lock up Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks needs to be locked up. He is their offense. Brandon Cooks is their offense. With the way that our secondary and our defenses has been playing overall, as long as we can do those 3 things, I wouldn't be surprised if we're looking at a shutout. Ladies and gentlemen, I would not be surprised if we are looking at a defensive shutout. So next up, we're going to revert over how I think the Buffalo Bills offense is going to perform against the Houston Texans defense. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be honest with you. I just see Josh Allen absolutely toying with this defense, especially being home in Buffalo, for a couple of reasons. Number one, when you look at their defensive line, you have one guy that is even a threat. He's the furthest thing in the face of the planet from a game wrecker, but his name is Merciless. Defensive end, very, very talented. This defensive line has struggled thus far getting pressure on the quarterback. We're not seeing a pass rush like we saw during week 1. We're definitely not seeing a pass rush like we ended up seeing against the Washington football team, which our offensive line ended up handling relatively well. I fully anticipate Josh Allen having all of the time in the world. Now, the Houston Texans in the middle of the field, they're somewhat talented. I mean, not anybody that I'm going to be losing sleep over at the end of the night, particularly within the linebackers and the safety core. But at the end of the day, once you account for the fact that Josh Allen ended up targeting, over 8 different receivers with a different reception last week, I have a feeling that we are about to overwhelm this defense whatsoever. Josh Allen's going to face absolutely zero pressure. Lovie Smith, the defensive coordinator, isn't one to blitz. So I really think that this is about to be a slaughter for the most part from the Buffalo Bills offense. Well, as far as keys to actually winning this game, at the end of the day, number one is pile it on. Have no mercy. Have no mercy. The Buffalo Bills need to go out there and absolutely beat the ever-living shit out of the Houston Texans. We should, on paper, we're supposed to, and we need to make it happen. Next up, a very interesting take that I heard from the Locked On Bills podcast from Joe Marino. He said this: be strategic with the plays that you are running against Houston for the upcoming matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs. Start calling a bunch of plays that the Buffalo Bills typically do not run on a regular basis. Be creative and force Kansas City to prepare for that. make Kansas City so overwhelmed with their game prep going into week 5 that we go out there and we completely throw in an Uno reverse card and completely just overwhelm them. I'm expecting to see a lot of creative plays that's going to force Kansas City to really start sweating once we end up going up there. Next up, I would probably have to say Josh Allen. Just let Josh Allen play, man. I mean, he's going to have all the time in the world. I don't anticipate him seeing a lot of pressure. Trust what the defense gives you. The defense is going to be giving you a bunch of opportunities for your playmakers to create separation and make that happen, and we'll go from there. As far as my score prediction is concerned, ladies and gentlemen, I am fully anticipating this to be like 42-7. I mean, I'm going to go on ahead and put Buffalo Bills 42, 7 points. I expect Mitch Trubisky to play, I would say, most of the fourth quarter at this point. That's how confident I am. I mean, legitimately, ladies and gentlemen, you can say that I'm being way too overconfident, but the Houston Texans are the worst team in football. They really, really are. And I mean, you can't give me an argument to suggest otherwise. Do me a favor, leave a comment. What's your final score prediction? Very curious to hear that out. As always, make sure that you join me for my live game reaction. I go live each and every single Bills game where you guys can watch the game with me and hear my live commentary. Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another edition of the Dom Mafia Report. And before I let you go, you better always remember, let's go Buffalo.